Hey, so does anybody here want to see a dead body? What's up, guys and gals? This is Spearfield7. Today we're going to talk a little bit about NBA2K18 MyPark, the neighborhood, whatever they're calling it this year. You know what I'm talking about. It's the player versus player element of the game. The grind to 99 overall never stops, and I've been really grinding my career trying to get my player ranked up, and I've been having kind of a disappointing time in the neighborhood aspect of this game. So this video is going to talk a little bit about what those issues are, and I get really frustrated with YouTubers and people in real life who only point out the negatives of creative endeavors, whether it's movies, music, whatever. They focus on the negatives and the bad parts, but they don't offer any solutions of what could have been different or what could have changed. So today I'm going to try to offer some solutions that I think would improve the multiplayer experience in this game. I'm just a little old YouTube channel over here. I highly doubt that they're ever going to pay attention to a video like this, but I do think some of my ideas are sound, and I'm a primary my career MyPark player. I want to give this game a legitimate chance. I had a grandma who lived on a farm, and she always used to talk about people being too big for their britches. Britches are pants. And basically it's like, you think you're the shit, but you've done nothing to earn that kind of respect and notoriety. And maybe that's what I'm kind of thinking is the problem with 2K18. They've gotten too big for their britches, and they no longer really care about improving the game because people are going to buy it. I played the 2K series before there was a multiplayer element. I kind of came back to the series with 2K16, and I love the way MyPark played. I really thought that the animations were smooth, the gameplay was faster and more fluid. Now there's just something about the gameplay mechanics of the latest 2Ks, last year and this year. Honestly, last year I played the game for about 2 weeks and it was already dead to me, and I had moved on to other things. This year I hope to give it a good month or two and really make a strong determination of whether I ever want to buy this game again, because I've just, not really had a great time. And what's the point of playing a game that you don't really enjoy? And especially for a YouTube channel, if I'm making videos just to make videos and not make videos where I'm actually sharing insight and actually, taking the effort to think about the game, it kind of leads me to believe, what's the point? But the gameplay of this game feels really sticky to me. It just feels very slow when you're on defense. If somebody makes like a crossover or a cut or something, it's almost like they got an invisible force field that just shoves you, 15 feet off of them, which just doesn't make sense, because if you're controlling your character, there's always these boundaries, these barriers. I really hate the pass-in thing where you have to let the person make a clean inbounds pass when they're at the top of the key. It used to be that you could try to go for a steal or whatever in earlier games, but now it's like, you can't play basketball unless we tell you can play basketball. It's been incredibly frustrating and weird to go through a lot of the weird mechanics. We've talked about it before. Open layup, if you beat a defender to the hoop, you're probably not going to make that shot unless you dunk it on somebody. It just really doesn't make sense to me. It used to be pretty even and pretty fair. 2K16, I got to Legend 1 status in like 4 months of play. I've really enjoyed grinding out that experience because I felt there was a fairness to the gameplay that was really good and really strong. Something that I talked about a little bit in my review video is I hate the idea that all of the courts are now clustered into the same region of the map. There was a certain kind of character and personality and charm to having the Sunset Beach Ballers, the Rivet City, the Old Town Flyers. It was cool to go to those courts and play with people who are native to their court. Now we're all just kind of shoved into the same area, into the corner of the map, and it just doesn't have that same vibe, that same experience. I do think that in this game there is too much of an emphasis on stats. So now you see these dudes on their cell phones looking up players and comparing stats, and I really don't think that that's cool, because let's think about it. When you go to your local basketball court to play a pickup game or whatever, you don't know these people. You don't know what they're all about. I understand having their overall rating underneath their player card. Ultimately, in real life, you're going into these experiences blind, and you have to find the kind of players that you jibe with and that you can form a rhythm with and have a lot of success as a team. In this game, people open up their cell phones, they disqualify you for any number of reasons why they can't play with you, and it makes the amount of time it takes to get into a game incredibly long. I'm actually going to show it up on the screen now. It took me over 15 minutes just to get into a damn match last night. I was just solo. I just came on. I was like, I'm going to play a couple games. I'm an 88 overall. I'm assuming like that would be good enough for some people to play a game. Time it takes to get into matches is just obscene. It's always been this way, and I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. You know, you get finessed off of spots by squads, you know, you finesse yourself, you know. It's just kind of a mess. And I wanted to talk a little bit about social spaces in video games, which this is kind of a new thing that I've seen emerge in the past 2 or 3 years. I believe it started with, well, I guess you could say it started with Grand Theft Auto 5 Online. You know, this idea that you're in the city, you're in a place together, and so when you're playing solo, it creates sort of an artificial social experience where you're around other players, even though you guys aren't necessarily playing together. I don't know how to word that more properly. I hope that makes sense. But games like Destiny, where you go to the Destiny Tower and people are doing emotes and dancing and shit and trying to hook up for games, it never really came to fruition that people were actually using that service or that space to actually create friendships and partners for battles and raids and whatnot. In the new Call of Duty, which is coming out in the beginning of November, they have a very similar thing where characters are just kind of milling about, and I guess you're supposed to do these little like fun games together or squad up, you know, when you're in some sort of barracks scenario where you're all just kind of walking around and you can show off your cool camo and your Kindle outfit. And that's kind of how I feel about MyPark. It's like, who are these motherfuckers who log into MyPark and just stand there for like 8 hours when people are out here trying to play basketball games? I don't know if it has any sort of impact on the lag, but the server quality is just as bad as it's always been. So we showed the time lapse of how long it took to get into an actual game, and this is no joke. The footage from the first game that I was able to finally get in after all this waiting time, you see me skipping all over the map, you see incredible lag spikes, frame drops, and it's like, how are you supposed to do well or even do a reasonable job playing basketball if it's this juddery and all over the place, which leads to bad stats? And then people look at their cell phones and then they go, oh, he has a bad win-loss, I don't want to play with him. When, you know, most of these guys, you end up playing with them and you're like, I don't think they've ever watched a basketball game in their entire life. I don't think they understand how the shit works, you know. I see shooting guards who are out here dribbling, literally using the entire half court to their advantage, and I'm just trying to get out of your way, bro. If you want to drive, you want to do your thing, you want to cheese, you want to be a little hype beast out here, like, I'll get out of your way. Just like have a consistent method of navigating the damn court. But I do notice that there have been a lot less people in Park, which kind of bums me out because that's one of my favorite elements. I do understand that the whole kind of experience is about showing out and, you know, looking cool and doing your own thing. And most of these people play MyPark like they're the only person on the basketball court anyways. They may as well be playing a 1v3 game because they just don't give up the rock. They take dumbass shots. They don't play defense. And then when they lose, they blame you because it's like, well, I scored, 14 points. It's not my fault. And it's like, well, it took you about 12 shots to make those 14 points, which is a really horrible shooting percentage. And every time you miss those shots, you never got rebounds. So you got people flying down the court on easy, fast break dunks on the other end. Basically, it's so hilarious to me. I'm not James Naismith. I'm not like the professor of basketball. But it's like, come on now. My own personal standards towards my play. If I miss a shot, I just expect that to be 2 points for the other team. Because most often, people can get rebounds and they can convert on the other end just instantaneously. So when you miss a shot and you don't get boards and you're not able to get boards because you created some sort of little munchkin Muggsy Bogues motherfucker, yeah, like, it's going to give up a lot of points, you're going to be down a lot in games, and you're going to have a higher uphill climb to get past them. But let's talk about solutions. I really don't like the milling about, people just standing around on the court. I don't like the amount of time it takes to play in a game. I really wish that they had a lobby system very similar to like shooter games or whatever, where it's like, I want to go play team deathmatch, I want to go play this, you get your squad together and you get zapped into a park setting. I don't think that the park is necessarily a social space. It's just basically a way for you to show off how you look, which once again, I don't understand that. Maybe it's because I'm an older gamer and I just don't understand the importance of looking cool in a multiplayer game. I thought it was about the gameplay itself, but getting back on track, I just think that the game's matchmaking system could be a lot more consistent and a lot better. And I really wish that they would have some sort of playlist option where if you have a squad of 3, why do you have to go around on the court, you know, especially the whole like squad takes precedence over the full spots. If the spots are full, they should just have to wait. I mean, I'm sorry. Or what you do is you get into a squad and, like I said, you play against other squads. It instantly puts you in a game when you're just trying to play. So over the weekend, I played about a dozen games. I have a little like highlight reel I'd like to put together for later this week. The amount of time it takes to get into games, it's just not very fun. So you play a 2-hour session, you maybe play, I don't know, 2 games, and they end just as quickly as they begin because people just don't play basketball. It's just a very weird vibe. And the actual basketball mechanics are just kind of broken and just feel wonky and weird. I don't know. There's a whole lot of other games I could be playing on this channel. I'm very thankful that a lot of people have subbed to the channel, but you guys should only expect 1 or 2 max 2K videos a week. There's just so much other stuff that's good that's out there that's available to play. This mode has just fallen off so hardcore, and I don't know where all this fake imaginary VC money is going to, because it surely isn't to improve the game. I just wish it was so much better, and it could be so much better if they would just pay attention to what the community has been overwhelmingly asking for the longest time. So anyways, hope you guys dug the video. Until next time, this is Spearfield 7. See you later.